Hi everybody and welcome back to The Plot. My name is Nat. Welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, this is the Knitting Plot podcast. So it's been a few weeks since I did a standard podcast episode, so I thought I would take a short while just to catch you up on everything that I've been doing, everywhere that I've been, and let's dive straight in. First of all, I would just like to put a huge thank you out to everybody who has recently subscribed to the channel. I've seen a real uplift in the number of subscribers, which is just mind-boggling from my perspective, not just in terms of subscribers but also views as well. So it's really lovely to know that I'm reaching a few people who are interested in what I've got to say. It's also been really lovely, those of you who have commented on my videos. It's been great to hear what you've been working on. It's also been just lovely to get bits of advice from people and validation that maybe some yarn choices that I've made they've worked with previously and they've always turned out to be good. So it's been super helpful, and it's just really lovely knowing that when these videos are going out, there's like people on the other end of it that I can connect with. That's absolutely the only reason that I've set this channel up, just to connect with more people who are interested in similar things to me. So thank you so much everybody for any of your likes, your comments, your subscribing to the channel. It's amazing. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you kind of think maybe this is for you, I'd love it if you went ahead and subscribed so that you could be kept up to date with anything else that I'm doing in the future as well. So big huge shout out and thanks to everybody. So what have I been doing over the last 3 weeks? Well, I have got some finished objects. I've also got some really sort of exciting and good solid progress on some of my works in progress. And I've also recently been to a yarn festival as well. So I've got some acquisitions, I've got some goodies, and I'm going to take you through all of them in the standard way. So first of all, let's start off with some finished objects. So the first one that I will bring you to is... look, my night and day cowl. Okay, so this is Andrea Mowry pattern, night and day cowl. I showed it on my last video. In fact, I'll put it on for you now so that you can see what it looks like. Obviously, all getting ready for the autumn months. It's a very drizzly, rainy August day here in the UK at the moment, which is definitely giving me autumn vibes. And I went round to my mum's the other day, and she's got these huge apple trees just on like the perimeter of her property. And when I say huge, I mean they're absolutely huge. They were there when I was a child, so they're quite well substantial now, obviously. And it's always a big sign to me at this time of year when you can just see the trees just heavily laden with apples. You know that autumn is just around the corner. So whilst I'm not wishing the summer away, I really do enjoy the summer weather. I enjoy it being warm. I enjoy being able to sit out in my garden or be down at the plot, sort of out in the sunshine. There is something about autumn just that is, that's the one for me. Winter, I appreciate winter more as I get older, but autumn is my absolute favourite time of year. And as it starts to get a bit chillier, when you just need a little bit of a little cowl situation, this was one that I wanted to be. I've been looking to do this for quite a while now, to be honest with you, but I made it part of my summer knitting plans. And I'm very pleased to say that it has now been completed and it looks lovely. I used West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab DK. I used it in the True Blue and in the standard cream colour, and I just think it's a really nice sort of contrast between the blue and the cream. And I recently bought some of these little handmade tags. I'll take it off so you can see it. You've probably all seen them online before, to be honest with you, but they're just little leather tags. I'm going to try and move my face out of the way. There you go. Little leather tags that say they're either handmade or made with love or something like that. They're a bit corny, but to be honest with you, I just think they're finishing off my garments quite nicely. So yes, I've started adding those to basically anything that I've been doing that I think warrants one. So yeah, I'm absolutely covered now in fluff. Probably shouldn't have worn a black top, but really pleased with that. I did along the back, I did think it seemed to become, I don't know whether I messed up somewhere and I did less decreases than increases, or I'm not entirely sure, but it was coming out as slightly, like if I show you the back, you know, if I kind of position the back bit fairly in the middle, you can see that the bottom doesn't quite look right. It goes off to one side a little more than another, so I'm not entirely sure what I've done there. But to be honest, when it's on, you can't tell. And I heard a few people make comments that with the back of the cowl, rather than mattress seaming it all the way, you know, from top to bottom, which is along this line here, to leave it a little bit, just to allow the cowl to sit slightly better, sort of on your shoulders. So I did that, and I'm quite pleased with how it sits as well. So yeah, all in all, really pleased with this. It's nice and cozy. It's going to be absolutely lovely when the weather gets a little bit cooler and I just need something around my neck to keep me nice and cool. So that is the Night and Day Cowl by Andrea Mowry. One of the next things that I wanted to do was, I showed you on a previous podcast episode that I'd made hot water bottle cover. This is part of a Christmas gift knit, and was part of a pair basically. So I'd done the first one. This is for my stepdad's dad, and I've been using scraps that I've got, acrylic scraps that I've got that I haven't got enough to do anything else with really. So that one was done earlier on in the year, but I needed to make number 2, and I have now. So this is for my stepdad's mum, and this is the Maxine hot water bottle cover by Laura Penrose. Again, a really lovely detailed pattern. This is just made up of, I think it was bonus DK, which I think is a Stylecraft, 100% acrylic. I'd got some leftover in white from the first one, which was leftovers as well. I'd got some of this navy from perhaps one of my first ever knitting projects, which was a little baby dress for a friend's little girl when she was a baby. And I've got just absolutely stacks of this oyster pink colour, because I just bought far too much of it when I first started knitting, because I'd got a new niece. So I am desperately trying to use up some of that pink, and I do still probably have another 2 full 100-gram skeins of it left. And that's also, in a moment I'll show you something else that I've done using that pink. So I'm just trying to plough through it basically, is what I'm trying to do. But yeah, really pleased with both of these. The idea behind these was that my mum and stepdad have a static caravan on the northeast coast, and well, not too northeast really, I suppose, Middle East. It's like close to Skegness, if anybody's familiar with Skeggy. But obviously certain times of the year it can get a little bit chilly, so when they're down in the spring or in the autumn months before the site closes up, I just thought these would be nice little bed warmers to get them nice and cozy before going to bed. So that's part of their Christmas gift package, so I'm really pleased to have that one checked off the list. So also using that pink and also another Laura Penrose pattern. This is for my littlest niece, and this is for Christmas, and this is the Midland Neck. And I mean, let's be honest, anything that you make for kids, it's so tiny, it will always be cute, always. This in particular though, I thought this was like a really good idea. In lieu of in place of a scarf. I feel like kids probably lose scarves quite a lot. You know, they get caught on something, they get, you know, walk off without it and it's still attached to, I don't know, a door frame or something. I feel like they could lose them quite easily at school or play school or what have you. And I just thought this was maybe a better option. Less likely for this to slip off while they're walking along. Well, impossible for it to slip off. They'd have to actually physically remove it. But I just thought it was a really cute idea. They do it obviously in adult sizes as well. I might be tempted to make myself one in due course. But I just really like it. Now, I will say, This acrylic is quite a cheap acrylic. It's not like a, you know, they all say premium acrylic, don't they? But some of them are definitely better than others. And I don't know whether it's because it's the garter stitch. I don't think there's anything wrong with what I've done in terms of like the decreases and stuff like that. I've followed the instructions, and there were also some bits of video tutorials as well that I followed really closely. But I don't know, you can see where there's decreases and increases. Those are decreases. No, those are increases. They're decreases on the other side, I think. But you can just kind of see little marks now. I don't know whether that's the acrylic yarn or whether that's my style and something that I've done. I mean, it's not like, you know, it's not major. It's not going to cause any major issues. But I think you're so used to seeing sort of machine produced garments, aren't you, that there will naturally be in a hand knitted garment some little changes in sort of tension, texture, whatever it might be, just very nature of the fact that it's hand knitted. But you know, when you're gifting something, you want it to look nice, and I think it does look nice. Some of my pickups around the front neck edge, they're a little more obvious as well. I've tried to do some little bits of sort of stitching just to cover up some of the holes that were a little bit gappier. But overall, I think it looks really cute, and I think it'll be a really practical little garment as well. So hopefully my brother and his fiance like that for her. So there we go. That's another one off the summer knitting plans, another Christmas gift knit that is now off the needles. So really enjoyed that. It was really quick. I probably did it in, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, I guess. Yeah, 3 or 4 days. I do wonder as well, I did do it on some Knit Pro Symphony wooden needles because the size that I needed to use, my Chowgyus were utilised elsewhere. So I wonder as well whether that might have had an impact on some of those areas of it that I'm not quite so happy with. The great thing is that I have enough of that yarn. If I wanted to do it again, I could do. But I actually think, do you know what, it's absolutely great the way that it is. I don't know why I'm beating myself up for it. So on the knitting front, I've also been doing some swatching. So again, from my summer knitting plans, I'd got some mystery sparkly yarn and that had been thrifted, and I wanted to knit the Bean and Olive sweater by Andrea Mowry, and I thought that that would be a good way to utilise that. It's sparkly, it's for another one of my nieces, and I think she would probably quite like all things sparkly. And I mentioned in the last video that I'd spoken to my sister-in-law and wanted to know, because with the Bean and Olive sweater, it's got like a heart motif that goes along the yoke, and I wanted to know, you know, what kind of colours would she really plump for. And she was happy with pinks and purples and all those sorts of things, but she did also say that she really liked rainbow colours. So I'd got this Patterns Fruity, I think it's called, yarn that I thought, well, maybe that could work really well within that motif. So I did some swatching. Okay, so just to give you a bit of, I don't know how easy it is to see the heart. You've got the hearts here, and then like a zigzag line that goes above here, and then like these little sort of arrowy type things at the top, I guess. Now, if you're struggling to make that out, it's not you. It doesn't really work, I don't think. The rainbow colours are amazing, but the stripe in the yarn is so short that it doesn't even cover a whole, you know, sort of width of a heart, for example. So it's more like it almost looks like paint splats basically, which is cool for other things. In particular, things that I've done in crochet, it looks pretty good in, but it's just not right for this. Now the other thing is that this mystery yarn I assumed was a DK weight. It's definitely lighter than a DK weight. I wouldn't go so far as to say like a 4-ply fingering weight, but it's definitely lighter, so maybe a sport weight. I think that's what comes in between, isn't it? And even just from that, I don't know whether you can see, but it is a little bit see-through, and I wasn't loving it at that particular thickness. So I did another swatch, and with this one I'd got some Rico hand dyed happiness left over from a previous project, and I do have another full skein of it as well. And I thought if I hold 2 strands of the mystery yarn together, the hand dyed happiness is a DK weight, but again I would say it was a light DK weight, and definitely got a more defined heart. You're still getting lots of colours in there, so it's not quite rainbow, but it's definitely more than more obvious in terms of the shape that it then creates in the pattern. And you know, the sequins look super cool. Double the weight, it's definitely more of like a jumper thickness that you would want for a child. It's going to be a bit more robust, but I'm not quite sure that I'm happy with this yarn being used for colour work. I think either I need just a block colour and not another changing colour or like variegated yarn for the heart motif, or I need to not use this particular silver mystery yarn. And I'm a little bit unsure about the mystery yarn anyway, just on the basis, I mean, it was definitely better held double, and like to feel it's not scratchy. Like I don't think she's going to have any issues wearing it, even with all those sequins in and like the lurex thread that's going through it. But to handle and to knit with, it's horrible. It like as it runs through your fingers, the sequins and the lurex thread, they're uncomfortable, they're scratchy, and they kind of rub your hands a bit raw, to be honest with you. So I don't know that I'm going to have the most fun knitting it, and if I'm not having fun knitting it, there's a big chance that I might, you know, do a terrible job with it, rush it, or in a worst case scenario not get it finished because I don't want to work on it. And if I'm trying to do this as a Christmas gift, I do actually need to want to work on it. So I'm thinking long and hard about what I do with this. It's more than likely what I'll do is I will substitute both of the yarns out for something else, which is a shame because I still don't know what I'm going to do with this silver yarn. I could do another Midland Neck and do it sort of a similar sort, you know, a larger size for that particular niece. I think it would probably look pretty cool in that. But yeah, I've got to rethink that particular yarn because I didn't enjoy working with it, and I do need to make sure that whatever I make with it, I enjoy. So that's a bit of swatching that I've been doing. So a couple of swatches completed as well. In terms of crochet, I have actually got some crochet that I finished, and this seems really silly. I'm sure anybody who crochets, this is probably one of the first things that you will do, and obviously I went a bit crazy, and the first thing I did was a float tote bag and then the virus shawl, which was probably, but that's probably a good thing. I went complex to start off with, and as a result, I mean, I really have enjoyed doing crochet. I wanted to make a granny stripe blanket for the dog, and again I told you I've got loads and loads of acrylic yarn that I probably won't wear because I'll get quite hot in it, but I thought it'd be perfect for blankets. So I have made a granny stripe blanket for the dog, and I absolutely love these colours. So this is a style this kind of like lighter bluey grey and greeny colour. I don't know if you can see that. That is a Stylecraft Impressions, and it's really soft. I got this for a jumper that I wanted to make one of my nephews, and it took me so long that he would have grown out of it by the time he got it, because he was at the stage where he was growing very quickly, like as a sort of toddler. So I've got quite a bit of this, and not sure what to do with that. I think there's going to be a fair few hats made out of it, in all fairness. But it's super soft, really, really lovely and soft. And then this kind of like sea greeny kind of colour, again, is a Stylecraft I want to say it's like Special, Starcraft Special or something along those lines. And it's like an Aran weight. And again, really lovely and soft. And when I was working on this and I'd got it on my lap, I'll be honest with you, I kept looking at it going, I wish I'd chained a few more, well, quite like double the amount, to make it like sort of wide enough for me, because it was really lovely and cozy to sit under. So I actually think, although this is the dog's and he's mad because I've taken it off him, I actually think I'm going to do another one of these and basically do like a really scrappy blanket. I've got loads and loads of similar types of yarn in terms of weight that I don't mind if it looks, you know, sort of really scrappy. If anything, I actually really want it to look scrappy, because those are the best type of blankets to snuggle up under in the winter months. But I just love that granny stripe. I think it looks really smart. I think it, you know, sort of it creates a really lovely thick and flexible fabric to snuggle under. And yeah, I think I'm going to be making myself one of these so that Dennis doesn't have all of the fun when it comes to blanket time. Look at me, I'm now, because that, in all fairness, the dog has been sleeping on that quite a lot, so I'm now covered in dog fur. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Again, real therapeutic crochet, you know, especially if I'd done a fair amount of knitting of an evening and I was like, right, I'm done. The ends of my fingers hurt where I've been pushing against my needle, but I'm not, it's too early in the evening for me to be doing nothing. I need to be keeping my hands busy. So yeah, perfect crochet project. So that is next on my list of things that I want to do, is create my own scrappy blanket for me to vegetate under in the autumn and winter months. And that was just self-drafted. It's a granny stripe, isn't it? You know, sort of, I think I chained 100, no, maybe not 100, maybe it was 91 maybe that I chained. So I think it's multiples of 3 plus 1 extra I think I had to do. And I just got that bit of information off YouTube, essentially. And yeah, and then I think I did like a double crochet border around the edge, which was simple enough to do as well. So that is my last finished object, is it not? Yes, it is. It's my last finished object. So quite a bit done, actually, really, when I think about it like that. So let's talk then about things that I'm currently working on. I have got, actually, right here, because it's on my crafting table. So I have still been working on the Yorkshire blanket by Midland Makes, and this is the square I'm currently working on. Here it is. And this is called Lambing Season, this particular square. I've got a few more that I've worked up as well. I've worked up the waterfall, and I've worked up one I think that might be called Stepping Stones or something like that as well. So I'm just continuing to work on this in the background. This yarn is by Chaza Makes. I purchased this for some socks when I was in Broadway in the Cotswolds. And although I do know that Chaza Makes has an Etsy shop and also a website as well. I'll get the details of those and I'll put the links down below. But just really nice. I used for the socks initially. I made it to make the Drippity Drop socks by Kay Jones, I hope. Again, it will say different on the screen if I was wrong. But it's just, the colours are beautiful, aren't they? Look at them. Really lovely. I don't have the Drippity Drop socks anymore because they were a gift, but I really wanted to have something in this colourway because it's just so pretty. So hence that's going in my Yorkshire blanket. So I've got about another 2 or 3 rounds I think of that square to do. So I'm continuing to work on that. I have also got a pair of socks on the go, and I say that with this look on my face because I'm not loving them. These originally were going to be for my nephew. I've made the first sock already, which is why I'm persevering with it, but they will end up just being a pair for me. And this is just utilising some West Yorkshire spinners, signature 4-ply in licorice, and then this kind of coral neon orange colourway is Rico's Neon range, and it's I'm fairly certain it's not a wool bamboo mix. No, I've had their bamboo mix, but no, that's just a wool. Might be their essentials range. Neon. Anyway, I don't know why I'm not liking them. I don't know whether it's because they look sporty and so they don't look pretty, but obviously I was doing them for my nephew, but I also spaffed it up in a couple of places as well. So on the first sock I did a jogless stripe, and then on this one I've completely forgotten that I need to do that so the stripe's not jogless. I've also, there's where I've done the stripes on this sock, I've done 5 rounds in the coral colourway, but in the first one I only did 4, and it's really obvious as well. It's not like you'd think that 1 extra round on the stripe wouldn't make a huge difference. It really does. So they'll just be a sock that I've got in the drawer kicking about for when I want a pair of cosy socks, and I will make him something different. And luckily last weekend it was the summer wool show in Bedfordshire, and I took my niece, my nephew's sister. She loves her crochet, so we went and had a little auntie niece day out, and she's helped me choose some yarn for his socks. So if you are watching this, little Miss Molly, make sure that he doesn't see, because I will show that yarn in a minute. Okay, so the only other item that I have got on the needles is, and yes, it is still going, my Brooklyn Raglan by Tori. But this is super exciting because I'm so close. I finished one of the sleeves and I'm sort of 2/3 of the way, halfway maybe, through this one. And do you know what? I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on so that you can see. So bear with. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to stand up so you get a bit of a better view of it. So the first thing I want to show you is the sleeves. These sleeves are lovely, and this is where the length of them is now. Now, that is a perfectly acceptable length for a sleeve, okay? I'm actually cool with that. But I would probably have it slightly longer, but I know that this, from everything that everybody has been saying online, this yarn is going to grow in blocking. So I'm counting on that growing a little bit so that I've got a sleeve that's a bit more sort of on the tops of my hands. That is what I'm hoping for. But in terms of the width of the sleeve, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. You know, sort of, it's got ample room in the upper arm, which is where I carry a bit more weight on my arms. It's not bunching up under my shoulders though, so there's not like loads of excess fabric. And yeah, it's, if I sit this way, it all when you can't see that sleeve there, I'm like, oh, it's like it's finished. And I'm very pleased. I keep looking at myself in the viewfinder. I'm like, no, look at me. I'm so sophisticated with my gorgeous jumper. You could probably tell I'm quite pleased with it. It is incredibly warm in this tiny box room, so I'm going to have to take it off. But I'm really thrilled with the colour. I'm really pleased as well that some of the bits that I was concerned about here, that was sort of like bubbling up from where the short rows were, I haven't even had to block that out. Just me putting my body in it puts it where it needs to be. So I'm pleased with that. I'm not seeing that bunching that I thought I was going to see. And the sleeves, you know, like I say, they will block out to the right length, which is great as well. It feels a teeny tiny little bit short in the body, but again, that's on the basis of the fact that I'm fairly certain it's going to drop and become longer in blocking as well. Now, I do quite like the fit of the body, so if it goes out that way, I'll be a little bit gutted because I don't want it to be too oversized. I quite like a more fitted look, but there is room for there to be a bit of extra ease in there if needs be. But we'll just see what happens with blocking, won't we? Who knows which way it could go. But this is the Brooklyn Raglan by Tori, and I love it. I love it. So let's take this off now before, you know, I completely overheat. Ugh. Again, me and trying things on. Never goes well, does it, for my hair? I spend any time making it look nice and pretty. I don't know why, because all I'm going to do is mess it up. Okay, I think it's okay. So I will definitely have this finished and blocked before the next episode. That is so very, very nearly done. And then I just have to think about, well, actually, what do I want to work on instead? And actually, I've got space for another cast on now that I've finished the Midland neck. There are things that I want to do. And I will talk you through some of the bits and bobs that I picked up from the Summer War Festival. My first purchase from the Wool Show was this lovely sock yarn. So this was my niece Molly told me that her brother's favourite colours were blues, blacks and dark purples. So I asked her to find me, I'll see if I can get the label in there, from these lovely yarns, one that would be suitable for his socks, because I'm not going to give him those black and orange ones now. I wanted a colour that he'd be really thrilled with. This is Bellica Yarns, and it is a 75% merino, 25% nylon, 4-ply yarn, 425 metres per 100 grams, and it's just got lots of lovely colours in there. Now I'm really tempted to do this because of the variegation in the yarn. I'm really tempted to do this in the drippity drop sock pattern because that worked so well on the Chaza Makes yarn I used previously. So in terms of like that variegated yarn, so I think that's what I'm going to do for him, because I just think they'll look super cool. I'm hoping as well, because he's a kid and he's like probably in, well, he'll be in like a size 4 by around Christmas time and not long after. So that's slightly smaller than my feet. He will have a narrower foot as well. So I can usually get 2 pairs of socks at my size out of 100 grams. So I'm hoping there's enough left over there for a little pair of stockies for me too. So yes, Bellica Yarns, really lovely. She's got a really beautiful stall actually. All of the colours on the stall were absolutely gorgeous. Oh God, I've never been to a yarn festival before. It was just heaven. There was so much woolly goodness. It was, yeah, it was intense, and I'm amazed that I didn't spend more than I did, and I spent a fair whack. And obviously nobody's ever under any pressure to go and spend their money on stuff like this. I'm just an idiot who likes to. And I reserve the right to do that. My money, my spends. So then one of the other things that I was looking for was, I've never knitted with alpaca. And I spotted this alpaca. It is a 4-ply. And this was by Inner Fleece, okay, and this is a bare undyed alpaca. And again, I will link Inner Fleece down below. And this is just absolute heaven. It's so soft. Now, she was saying to me that it's a 4-ply. You get about 300 meters, I think it was, to a 100 gram skein, and I can see that although it's a blown yarn, so it's a Pima cotton and alpaca blown yarn. So obviously the cotton, in terms of colourway, is just the colour that it is, but then obviously the alpaca is undyed. So you're just going to have this lovely, like, sort of mould, I guess, look when it's knit. I'm so excited to knit up a swatch of it. It's the softness is insane. Like, I've heard people say about, you know, knitting with alpaca, it is just glorious. It feels like you've got a cuddly toy. Now, the only thing is I'm not sure what to do with it, because this is just typical me. I want something, and therefore I've gone and bought it with absolutely no forethought. And she did try to help me as well. She was kind of like, you know, sort of, that would make a really nice vest, and you could get a vest out of a couple of skeins. I think she was being kind to me. I think she could get a vest out of a couple of skeins. I'd probably need at least 3. However, I'd already got plans. I have got plans to do another vest, and I know what I'm going to be utilising for it. So I think I just kind of blocked out what she was saying, and I just wanted to try knitting with it. She's got a website, so I can go and get more, and it's undyed, so it's just going to be, you know, whichever alpaca this one came from, she'll just have made more. So, I mean, it's going to be the same colour, maybe some different roots. Do alpacas get roots? Who knows? Anywho, oh, this just feels so lovely. So I can get more. So if I decide to do a garment with it, I can just get more. There is a part of me though that just kind of wants to make something that's going to be on my skin because it's so soft. So I don't know whether I could knit up a cowl and go, let's try it as a cowl first of all. There are dyed variations of this as well, so I can get dyed ones if I do want to go ahead and make a garment of some kind. I do really like that natural colour though, it's just lovely. I thought about some gloves, doing some gloves with it. I could definitely make a pair of gloves out of 300 metres of like a fingering weight. It's going to be like quite a thick fingering weight in all fairness, but I could definitely do a cowl. I could get more of them, and I could do like a Sophie shawl. That would be lovely. Help me out. What do I do with this? Tell me what I can do with 300 metres of alpaca cotton blend yarn. Preferably something that's touching my skin because it just feels like heaven. But tell me, what would you do with it? Tell me what you would do with it. And if you've knitted with alpaca before, tell me what your experiences are with it. Is it warm? Is this kind of this blown? The blown yarn obviously is quite lofty. I should be making it into a garment, shouldn't I? I should probably be making it into something like a vest. But then it's not going to be close to my skin in the same way. I'm going to leave this up to you. You guys need to help me with this. Tell me what you would do with this gorgeous, gorgeous alpaca. And if I have to go and get more of it, I absolutely will. I thought this was very reasonably priced as well. So I think it was £16 undyed. I think it was £18 dyed. And yeah, again, if you're getting sort of around the 300 metre mark for £16, I thought that was good value. So. And I am about value. I don't just spend my money willy-nilly. It has to deliver something. But there we are. So I got alpaca. I got my niece a nice little crochet kit from the Woolly Mouse. I'm sure it was the Woolly Mouse, I think it was called. Again, I'll link them below. She is stepping her crochet game up. She's picked out a shawl pattern. She's not used to knitting from patterns, so Mum's definitely going to have to help her with that one. But yeah, she's leveling up her game. She saw so many people who were wearing stuff that they'd crocheted and, you know, sort of stuff that they'd knitted as well, and she was just, I think her mind was blown by the things that some people are able to make. There was one woman who was wearing like a full length dress, crocheted dress, and she was like, do you think she's made that herself? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure she has, yeah. One of the other things that I ended up purchasing was a pattern by Sincerely Louise. Now, I saw this pattern amongst a great display of stuffies or cuddly toys, whatever you want to call them, and one in particular took my eye, and it was Jess the Border Collie. Okay, now this is Jess the Border Collie, and I'll show on the back sort of the pose that Jess has. Now, this stood out to me for my friend, who hopefully has not watched this far into the video, to be honest with you, but if she has, then she'll know it's coming. But she has a Border Collie called Ralph, and she and I lived together for a number of years, so I very much consider Ralph to be my dog as much as hers. She will argue the toss on that one for obvious reasons. But Ralph is getting very old now, bless him, and I saw this and I just thought, do you know what? It's the looks that he would give you in his youth when he was busy trying to get you to throw a ball for him because he's absolutely ball mad. So, and that's the crouching pose that he would give you as he dropped a ball in front of you. And he doesn't play with his ball quite so much now, obviously, because he's getting a bit older. But I thought, she's not really a cuddly toy person. She's not a collector of cuddly toys. But I've seen a few people do various bits of the amigurumi crochet stuff, and I wanted to give it a go, but with something knitted. So when I saw this, I was just like, okay, well, there's somebody that I can make that for and also give it a go myself. So I have bought the pattern. The pattern it's a lovely pamphlet for one. It's a really good solid pamphlet that the pattern comes in, and you've got a bit of backstory as to Sincerely Louise's relationship with Border Collies, which is super cute. Obviously everything you'd expect in there in terms of the written pattern, but also there's a loop stitch, which you might not be familiar with. So it tells you how to knit the loop stitch. It's got some great photos in there as well in terms of how to construct the toy once all the pieces have been knitted. So I decided to give it a go. Now, unfortunately, I would have bought, because she was actually selling these patterns in kits with all the bits and bobs that you would need. Now, unfortunately, Ralph is not a black and white Border Collie. He is a brown and white Border Collie. So I decided not to buy the kit, but decided to buy the recommended yarn, which is the Sheepiece Stonewashed XL. They're sort of Aran. So today, very excitingly, I got a delivery from the Wool Warehouse where I was able to purchase that particular yarn. So I have now got a lovely brown version to make this little guy up with. I did also get the cream, obviously, so these are the two colourways. So I'm going to knit my first ever cuddly toy. This is really soft, by the way, as well. It is so the colours are Moonstone and Brown Agate, and it is a 70% cotton, 30% acrylic, and it's an Aran weight, and it feels lovely. It's going to make a very lovely cuddly toy, but obviously I had to purchase all the other bits and bobs that go with it. Now I have decided to go, you'll see on Jess has got a little round nose. I wanted a more realistic nose, so I have purchased some little dog noses. I don't know if that's going to focus because of the light, probably not. But I've got some little dog noses there, and I've also got some little amber eyes as well, so that I can make him as much like real life Ralph as possible. And he can just sit somewhere on a shelf in my friend's house and just be constantly posed as if he wants you to throw a ball. So that was part of the delivery that I got from the Wool Warehouse, but I've had a much bigger delivery than that. Okay. Oh my god. So, right, I have some explaining to do, because here I am telling you how I'm trying to get through all of my acrylic yarn that I have, and I have a good chunk of it in the form of a scrappy crochet blanket. And so you might be wondering why I have bought all of this, and this is because my mum has asked me to make something which interestingly is a loop stitch garment. So with my stepdad's niece, was out and about by the looks of things with my mum, and went into a boutique shop somewhere and found a loop stitch vest. And they wanted to know if I could make it, because obviously the person who had made it in the boutique was selling it for a lot of money. Now, theirs would have been in a natural fibre, one based on the cost that they told me, but also based on the fact that it was boutique. However, they wanted something similar in an acrylic yarn so that it could be more easily washed. And it was all these lovely pastel loops, all kind of like sort of blended together, sort of striped but sort of blended together at the same time. And I had a look online and I worked out how the loop stitch is done, and I've also managed to find a tutorial that is a crochet loop stitch as opposed to a knitted loop stitch, but a crochet tutorial that helps you make, I think it's supposed to be a cardigan, but I would just omit the sleeves to make it a vest, which would look very similar. And she wants it all in these pastel colours, so that is why I now have all of this stuff. Obviously, I'm not purchasing this, my mum's purchasing this so that it can be made for a Christmas gift for her. And it's quite a scary one for me, this one actually. One, because obviously I know my mum's going to be gifting it to somebody, but two, it's crochet, which is newer to me. I could do it knitted, but I think I would need like a proper pattern for that. You know, I don't think I could kind of make that as I went along. Crochet is a bit easier to construct and make right, especially when you've got a video tutorial as well that you can kind of follow. So it's not like a huge cost investment, obviously, but it's more just, I want it to be nice. I want my mum to be proud to give it over. So I'm doing a bit more research into making sure that it's going to be something that fits for her size and all of that sort of stuff. And I'm aware that because it's the loop stitch, I'm going to be using, like crochet already uses a lot of yarn as it is. With the loop stitch, it's going to be using even more yarn. So I think I've got enough, but I decided to opt for something that I could readily get more of should I need to. So that's going to be exciting, but also kind of scary at the same time. It does also, it's added on to my knitting plans for summer. Most of my knitting plans have been done with a view that I've got a lot of stuff that I want to make for people for Christmas. So this will have to be sort of squeezed in somewhere as well, or something that I was going to make for myself personally will have to take a back seat. So I'd got plans to make the Winnie top and also the framed sweater. Hang on a second, because I've realised I had to open the window because of the hot camera, so I'm going to have to close that now. Bear with. Closed the window because there was a bit of outside noise, but hopefully that doesn't mean that my camera massively overheats again. So yes, that's quite a big ask, and it means that some of the stuff that I want to do for myself is going to have to take a back burner. But I'm also quite proud that my mum's asked me to do it at the same time, so I want that to be nice for her. So that is now going to go on my summer knitting plans, something to start fairly soon so that I can make as much progress on it as possible. I think that's everything that I've got going on at the moment. I am still working on my cross stitch. I'll probably do a little bit of that tonight before I start on my scrappy granny blanket, but I do want that blanket to get started, so I've got a bit of a crochet project for the evenings. But tell me what you're working on. I do love to hear what you guys are working on. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet and you've made it this far, then maybe you will like the updates of what I'm working on going forward, so feel free to click that button, ring the bell, and it will tell you whenever I release a new video. But yeah, I've got a lot to be getting on with, really. Now I'm surrounded by it, I'm suddenly aware of how much I need to get done. So I need to do some planning as to how I'm actually going to deliver on all of this, and still be doing the stuff that's fun for me, because that is the sort of the main thing. In fact, I will bring up now where I am with my summer knitting plans. see what I've ticked off the list and what I've still got to do. So I've done my night and day cowl, I've done the Midland neck, I have swatched for the bean and olive sweater, and I've done the second Maxine hot water bottle. I guess things that are potentially going to have to take a backseat are the Winnie top, although I really want to work on that. Maybe it'll be the framed sweater. The framed sweater may have to take a back seat so that I can work on this loop stitch crochet project. I was always going to have probably some socks going on in the background, so those will be my nephew's socks. And then once they're done, probably another pair just there in the background as well. But in terms of the main things, I think it's going to have to be the framed sweater that pushes back. The Winnie top I really want to work with because it'll be my first time working with, you know, sort of a nice cotton as opposed to quite an industrial harsh cotton. This is a cotton bamboo, so I do want to work on that. And I also think as well it will be a piece that I can wear into the autumn, so I am still going to work on the Winnie top. We're only in August, Christmas is a long way off, and I probably still need to do a little bit more work on how I'm going to put together that particular loop stitch vest jacket situation. So yeah, in fact, you know what, I might even cast on the Winnie top tonight. Why not? Give myself something a little bit different. I'm still working the sleeves obviously on my Brooklyn Raglan, but that will be done for the next video. I think I'm probably going to cast on the Winnie top tonight, because I don't think I'm going to edit this tonight. That'll probably be a Sunday job. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much, like I said earlier, for those of you that have subscribed and are following along and offering your support through comments and advice and all that sort of stuff. It honestly, it means the world. It really does. And I hear people say that all the time, but it really does. So thank you so much. Hopefully I'll have another video out in another few weeks' time. I'm trying to do at least one a month. But yeah, you'll get something, an update from me soon, I'm sure. And the next time, that Brooklyn Raglan is going to be finished, and we might even be somewhere closer weather-wise to me being able to wear it for a whole podcast session without overheating. So thank you very much for your time today, everybody. Thank you. It does mean so much that you'll give up any of your time to sit here and watch me waffle on, as I very often do. I will see you on the next one. As they say round here, ta-ra a bit, and thanks.